you all for coming. Look, you don't need to look any further to know that this takeover is a terrible idea than to look at the arguments that the mayor and his allies have made to support this. First, it was to get race to the top money. And then Gwen Moore blew that out of the water by proving that you don't need race to the top. They don't need mayoral takeover for race to the top money. Then it was to close the racial achievement gap. And guess what? We looked into that a little bit, found out that Madison and Beloit have worse racial achievement gaps than Milwaukee. They're not trying to take over anything there. Then you look at the racial achievement gaps in the city that the mayor actually has some control over, and he's done squat. Mr. Mayor, how about the pothole racial achievement gap? Then he says, drop that one, and then he said, well, we need a strong leader for a change. Like Chicago. 2 studies come out showing that the mayoral takeover has made the schools at best flat, at worst worse. Then Washington, D.C., where the mayoral appointed superintendent gave money to principals and teachers if their scores increased on their student tests. And lo and behold, you find a couple of the schools, there was a scandal where someone was going in and erasing their test answers and putting in different answers, and Michelle Reese sat on that for 6 months. Then you have New York, where the mayoral appointed superintendent, changed the way they evaluated the schools, so all the schools were getting A's and B's. It was just a number game. So none of that is working. Then Tom Barrett says, well, we need to ensure accountability. I want to ask you, we've got several school board members here. You've heard from the school board president. Who do you think you get better accountability for? That office up there or our elected neighborhood school? Now they've returned to the race to the top argument because none of that other stuff has worked. Yesterday, on 1290, 2 of the mayor's top allies, Taylor and Jason Fields, had to make stuff up. They claimed that we are going to fall into, the system is going to fall into level 5 under No Child Left Behind if we don't change the governance. Folks, there is no level 5. Governor Doyle and Mayor Barrett, you embarrass yourself with the charade. The real reason for this is money and power. You're supposed to be politicians and you have made enemies of your friends. We're going to call on the legislators of Wisconsin to stand up to the charade. No coup d'etat of the Milwaukee Public Schools.
The old tales of how a village raised a child has no governance in our society today. Parents of the urban community are still parents. Respect that. We have the right to voice our opinions in regards to the quality of education for our children. That's why we vote for our board. Now, you're telling us we must face, you're telling us that we are unleashed with we're faced with the situation of unleashing our children's minds to people that are not properly prepared to educate our children. Parents, teachers, pastors, legislators, and community. I stand here today and I say, if you care for the education and the future of a child, children, grandchildren, and the rippling effect that this may cause on the upcoming generations, you would oppose this mayor takeover. This MPS failed to ride our children's backs to the top for your all interest is unacceptable. And we say no now.